Okay, everyone has their notes. We left off on metabolism. Some of that was covered in the video. Does anybody have any questions about the video? The guy who thought not eating very much would make him skinny and his body panicked. Okay. As soon as I get this thing to go.
Consider this before you run. Metabolism.
Okay, and we also talked yesterday about the video with the lady and all the pimples, and she didn't have fat-soluble vitamins, right? Because she wasn't eating any fat. And so even if you consume the vitamins, your body can't absorb them and use them. All right, so that's why the basic food groups, you know, there's people who, well, I'll just have lettuce and lettuce and lettuce. Well, that's great. But eventually you have to have some of those fats and oils, otherwise you won't be able to absorb all those vitamins that you need.
Consider this.
I heard you. Okay. We also talked about creatine, any other supplements, protein, how you really don't need those things unless you don't have them in your diet. Okay. What are examples of protein? Fish, meat, peanut butter, yeah, nut. Okay. Now steroids. Have we talked about steroids yet? Okay. All right. So when you think of steroids, what do you think of? Bodybuilders putting a needle in their hiney. Okay. There are several different kinds of steroids. The kind you're thinking of, they have severe side effects. The gains are not worth the cost. They're illegal in the NCAA. I think Mr. Davis did say that yesterday. They're a banned substance, and there's a reason for it. One, to help protect the athletes, and two, so that the playing field stays level. If you're allowing people to take this stuff and, you know, half of the guys on your football team are on steroids and they're more powerful, bulkier, heavier than the other half of the guys, that's not fair, right? So, and it, like I said, it's also dangerous, so it helps protect them. All right, better pregame meal. What do you think of when you think of a pregame meal? What do people normally eat a couple hours before games? Okay, where does the football team go? Hickory Corral. They have what? Grilled chicken sandwiches, barbecue sandwiches, and French fries. I mean, there's a salad bar available. I don't know how many of them use it, but okay. So those are good examples. Up here, eggs, steak, baked potato, sour cream and butter. There's your fats category right there. Baked potato. There's your starches. Green beans for vegetables. But that's a little bit on the less healthy side. There's a lot of extra fat in that side. If you look at the side on the right, you've got grilled chicken instead of steak, much more lean. Also a lot of protein. A dry baked potato, so you're still getting the starch, but not with all the extra junk on it. Bread is good for carbohydrates. You still got your vegetables. Water or Gatorade instead of iced tea, because iced tea is basically water with a lot of sugar in it. Gatorade does have a lot of sugar, but it also has a lot of the other important electrolytes that you need. Exactly. And your body is made up mostly of water, and so you've got to make sure that it's hydrated before games, not just when you're on the sideline and you're already sweating. That's why we push Gatorade in the locker rooms and stuff the couple of days before a Friday night game, because it's too late if you're thirsty. If you're thirsty, you're dehydrated. Real hydration starts 72 to 48 hours before. Keep that in mind. Keep away from dairy in your pregame meal. Keep away from caffeine. One, because in a lot of instances, excessive caffeine is banned, like in NCAA. I mean, you'd have to have a bunch of cups of coffee to test positive for that, but one of those energy drinks has the equivalent of like 8 cups of coffee in it. So why risk it? Plus the crash, not worth it to me. Increase your water and electrolytes. If somebody starts cramping and they go, I don't understand, I've had lots of water. Have you had any Gatorade? Have you been putting salt on your food? If you're sweating a lot, you're sweating out a lot of salt as well. Okay, so yeah. And you can taste the saltiness. Yeah, it's coming out in your sweat. I don't know about that. They're a little bit salty as well. It has to do with I think like the pH balance probably in that liquid. Okay, carbohydrate-rich foods. Carbs are a great energy source. You know, you go on those low-carb diets and you lose weight quickly. You also have like zero energy. You're Krabby Patty. You're hungry. You feel sluggish. You need carbohydrates, especially your brain. Think more of the day before. That's just going back to what we just talked about. The day of, if you're thirsty, it's too late. All right, body composition. This is when we're talking about lean body mass. A college female, so a little bit older than y'all, 20 to 25%. Okay, I'm well out of college, but I'm still in like the 20s age group. My lean body mass versus my fat index, I think my percentage is 21, 22%. But if you put me on one of those little bioelectrical, they're called bioelectrical impedance, those little things that you hold on to, the handles. Have you guys ever seen those? It's supposed to tell you how much fat you have, what percentage your fat is. Not very accurate, those things. Okay, they tell me I'm obese. Okay, so we're going to talk about some ways that are a little bit more accurate. College male, 12 to 15%. You'll see men are naturally leaner than us. Okay, ladies. You can't compare yourself to them. Not in the rate that they lose weight or gain weight, and not in how much fat storages we have. We're supposed to have more. So that should be a reassuring number. Males should not go below 3%. That's very unhealthy. You need a certain percentage of fat to protect your organs on your insides, and also to insulate, like that lady was talking about in the video, to absorb vitamins, to insulate, all those characteristics that fat has that are beneficial. Women, not below 12%. If you see a woman below 12% body fat, she's probably not menstruating, which isn't healthy. She's probably got bone density issues. There's an awful lot that comes with women who don't store enough fat. We're mostly worried about that in female athletes and girls that are of an age where body image is an issue. Obesity, like I said, implies excessive amount of body fat, okay? So obesity has been declared a major risk factor for heart attack. Other risk factors are smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and a sedentary lifestyle. But don't you think some of those things kind of go hand in hand? They're not all standalone issues. All right, so this is where I was saying there are some methods of finding your body fat percentage that are more accurate and some that are less accurate. The top one there, hydrostatic or underwater weighing. It's pretty stinking accurate. Basically, it's a big tank, and they measure how the volume is in the tank before you get in it. And you get in as bare minimal clothes as you can. Usually I've seen girls go in like bikinis and stuff. They get in, go underwater, then they measure the volume. Pretty accurate. Okay, not a lot of percentage of error there. Measurement of electrical impedance. That's the one I was talking about where you can either hold on to them. They're like a little handheld thing, or sometimes you can stand on it. There's scales that can supposedly tell you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of them have different little gimmicks, but just know that they're not very accurate. I don't remember if it's on the slides or not, but the percentage of error on those is like 5 to 7%, which is actually pretty big. Yeah, the second one, the electrical impedance. And then kind of middle of the road, pretty accurate, like more so than those electrical impedance, but not as accurate as something like hydrostatic weighing, is the skin fold thickness measurements. Have y'all ever seen skin fold calipers? They look like little pincers. You grab somebody's fat, you measure. Yeah. Okay, so for that one, skin fold measurements, there are 3 sites for women that are most common: triceps, iliac crest, so right here, and thigh. Men, chest, thigh, and abdomen. Okay, so iliac crest for women and abdomen for men are a little bit different. That also goes along with where we store our fat, so that's why it's a little bit different. Iliac crest, it's right here, and it's like an angled measurement instead of a straight up and down. For men there, abdominal, theirs is like this, which on me is going to be way more than it is on a guy that's my same size, because like I said, we don't store fat in the same places. So this one would be here for iliac crest, and this would be abdominal. All right, to lose weight and to gain weight. We've already talked about basal metabolic rate, right? That's what y'all's homework was over. You figured out how much your body burns just to survive day to day, right? Basal metabolic rate. If you're extremely active, you know, like Desiree runs, you have to figure that in because your body is also burning calories and energy on top of what you need to sit, breathe, walk, for your body's normal processes to happen. It takes into account calories consumed. Okay, so to lose weight, you have to burn more calories than you're taking in. Right? Didn't we talk about that? To gain weight, you have to consume more than you're burning, which is usually pretty easy for me. I don't know about you. I'm pretty good at consuming more than I'm burning, not so good at the other way around. So that's that. The only way to maintain weight and good health is to figure out what your BMR is and then keep track of what you're eating and try and keep it in that same range if you're happy with where you're at. Eating disorders. Okay, remember when I said that those really extremely low body fat percentages are normally seen in female athletes? Girls of your age is a really good example because you're so critical of each other. So mean. I don't know why. Yeah. So body image issues usually end up with an eating disorder. I saw more girls with eating disorders in college athletics than I've seen anywhere else, just in the few years I worked there. But you know, that's one form of an eating disorder. There's also girls and guys who binge and then throw it up. So they're not starving themselves, but they're still getting rid of it. That's called bulimia. Yes. I mean, unless you're sick. If you're sick and you can't keep it down, that's one thing. But if you're purposely throwing up, okay, so bulimia, that's what we're talking about. They binge and they'll eat thousands of calories and then get rid of them as quick as possible. They'll eat everything on the Thanksgiving table and then be gone for a few minutes in the bathroom. They come back and act like nothing's wrong. Exactly. It fools people because they don't, it's not like they're seeing you push food away. All right, so these are one of the ones you have to be really careful of. If you're close to someone who you notice is immediately running to the bathroom after meals, and I know it sounds silly, but you probably all know someone who has done this and don't realize it. You need to step in because this is so bad for you. It is so much worse than being a little bit chubby. And actually, honestly, most of these people aren't even chubby. They just have body image issues. It's not quite the same. You guys, it's not quite the same. Anorexia and bulimia do have a little bit different setbacks for each one, but ultimately they're both super unhealthy. So, yeah, anorexia is when they don't eat. So bulimia, vomiting is not the only form, okay? See where it says laxatives? It can come out the top or it can come out the bottom. But if somebody's taking a bunch of laxatives, they're flushing out, it makes you poop. They're flushing out everything before their colon has a chance to absorb the nutrients. It can ruin your teeth. Okay, so teeth are up there because what's in your stomach? Acid. If you're throwing up a bunch, that acid is corroding your teeth. Liver damage and disruption in heart rhythm. Anorexia nervosa, that's the other one we've been hitting a little bit. Distorted body image. Like I said, some of these, I've seen girls who were smaller. I mean, I'm not saying I'm small, but I'm saying that were my size or smaller who thought that they were gross or fat or, oh my gosh, I should go on a diet. Why? Okay, they were fine. But it's a distorted body image. They truly, when they look in the mirror, don't see what you see when you look at them. They think they're fat, denial of hunger. So, Desiree was saying she can't starve herself because she's just too hungry. They have such a bad distorted body image and are so concerned with their weight that they will deny that. They will push those feelings aside. They could also, instead of just not eating, they could be exercising so much that they're burning everything that they consume. We talked about there has to be a balance there. If you're burning, purposely exercising several hours a day and not eating very much, you're burning way more, and your body's going to suffer for it. It can make you sick. Very secretive. It's not like they're going to go tell people about it. And usually, because it starts with that distorted body image, they need help from a psychologist, a psychiatrist, somebody who specializes in the mental part of their health. Because yes, they're going to need to be brought back from this physical unhealthiness, but it starts with their mind. If you don't fix it up here, it's not going to matter. You could force feed them for 2 weeks and think that they're plump and happy again, and they're not. They're just going to go right back to it. All right, begin to study, it says. Everybody took notes off those videos, right? If you had somebody missing in class, I know that the videos may not have exactly translated onto the video that's online. Share your notes with them if they ask. And study hard. We'll review tomorrow.